is Ruckus. Thanks for joining. Please like, subscribe, and share. 10-8. Hey. What's going on, everybody? I usually get to look at my ugly mug, but not tonight. We're going to be going over some paperwork, and this is going to be mostly about you guys. Before I say hello to everybody and get this thing rolling, I just want to touch base on one thing, a little bit of housekeeping. I got caught up with some crap last week, and I apologize for that. It's not my style. Won't happen again. I owe you guys an apology for that. That's not how I operate. But now I'm back. Now, we need to realize that however we did it, however we all came together as this true crime community, whether you did it through Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, whatever, we're just at a community. There's tons of unsolved crimes out there. There's tons of interesting cases that we need to focus on. And I implore you all to go watch as much as you can, read as much as you can, watch as many YouTube channels as you can. But I also implore you that after the first 10 minutes, if they're still talking about another creator, move on to something else that's talking about a case. All right? But let's get to the hellos. Enough of that crap. Jill Moser, how are you? Laura, what's going on? CJK in the house. What's shaking? 63 clocks. Let's see. Mind of Monsters. How are you? What's going on? And for you people out there, if you are a creator and you're in chat and one of the mods doesn't post your link, please be selfish. Put your link in there. You know, I want everybody to have the opportunity to know who the creators are. And the fact that you're taking time to get around and watch my channel, I appreciate that. So I'd like everybody to know what your channel is. So get through the hellos. Frosty, what's happening? Miss Persevere, how are you? Olivia. Sola Chef, how are you? Steph, geez. My first day with my new lips today, I think. Miranda Lee, how are you? Let's see. Giovanna, good evening. Let me see if I missed anybody. Don Spain, how are you, sir? Good to see you. And Don, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to make you a moderator real quick. Give me 1 second. If you don't mind, sir. I need all the help I can get, trust me. Kev, you too as well, man. Need to get some moderators to help me out, post links, keep people sane in here. Keep me sane, as a matter of fact. All right, there we go. All right, and get back into this program. Okay, Raggedy Susan, how are you? Rescue every single one of the dogs. What's shaking? Shadowbox, what's good? Joe Newman, when and what is the storm? Open your eyes, Joe. 517 Kells, how are you? Miranda Lee again. Just Deb. Alley Cat, how are you? Bamason in the house. Julianne Friend, how are you? Kemosabi, good to see you. Kev, I know you're at work, and I appreciate you dropping in. I really do. You're the man. Lee and Susan Trainer, what's going on? Lone Pony, hello. Jennifer. Lisa. Deb's True Crime, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's my first day with my new lips. Deb's not feeling too well, so I appreciate her stopping in. That's awesome of her. And once we get into this, you know, when I bring up this share screen, I made it really big because I know some of you guys watch on your phones. so I made it as big as I could. And we won't go over every single word. Phil Bond, good to see you. Jamie Hicks, what's happening? Alice James, hello. Maureen McMahon. Hope I said that right. If not, I apologize. Angela, what's shaking? Let's see. Of course, Jinx is in the house. I'm lost without Jinx. Let me see if I missed anybody, and we'll get started on this. See, there's a bunch of people lurking. That's fine. Welcome aboard. If you got something to say it. I've got it on subscribers only. It's a little way to cheat to get some subscribers. You got to subscribe to say something. So if you're pissed off at me, you got to subscribe. You can unsubscribe if you're not, but that gives me 10 minutes to win you over. Cats and Crimes, how are you? Solar Chef Steph. Jeez, that name's giving me fits tonight. Solar Chef Steph. Thank you for gifting memberships. You're awesome. You're the bomb.com. Necessary Evil, what's going on? And let's see, I think we can pretty much get in. I'll try and keep up. And if I miss anybody. Marcel, hello. Robin, hello. Freckled Joy, welcome in. And like I say, guys, get around to as many channels as you can. But if after the first 10 minutes they're still talking about other creators, move on to something else. But I understand, we're all human, you know. I'm not above it either. This will do nicely. What's happening? Stacy and Mustang. All right, let me bring in this screen share here. Now, I don't want this to take a long time. I don't want to just blow through the stuff either. So, can you guys see that okay? I certainly hope so. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on the chat while I do this. I tried bribing a few people to come on with me tonight because I knew it was going to be a little difficult going through this stuff and watching the chat, but that's okay. I understand it was short notice, but I hope you guys can all see this page. Okay, this is the first one. It's the support, the petition for writ. Now, these attorneys here, Kara Wenke, she's already filed once. This Mark Lehman is a new name to me. I haven't seen that one. So that may be new. Hey, ATS, how are you? Amber, good to see you. All right, so we'll go over this stuff. I'll put it up here and you can read it if you want or pause it or whatever. But we'll just go over a few things that I found. You know, I went over this today and I talked to a couple of people about it. Now keep in mind, before we even get into this, okay, I know personally that I will never, ever, ever find myself in the position that Richard Allen is in right now. You need to remember that. Not one of you people will ever find yourself in the position that he's in. That's 1,000,000 to 1 chance, okay? But he is innocent until proven guilty. Hey, Brandon. So we have to keep that in mind. So what we're talking about here is all of our rights, not just Richard Allen's, all of our rights. But as prior law enforcement, I fully understand that this case is over as far as law enforcement is concerned. They turned the case over to the prosecutor, to the DA. They do that when they're done, when they have all their evidence, and the prosecutors looked at it and said, yes, I will accept this case and we will take this to trial. So the prosecutor is pretty confident that Richard Allen did this. Law enforcement is very confident that Richard Allen did this. So they've already turned the case over. So they're not actively working the case against Richard Allen anymore. They've already worked that case. Now, can new evidence come to the surface? Yes, of course it can. But the prosecutor will take care of that and decide which is good and which is not. But as far as Richard Allen goes, law enforcement is done with him. They've already turned it over to the prosecution. They've already got the process going. He's been incarcerated for a year now. And so, that has to tell you something. If you believe in our system at all, even a little bit, that has to tell you something. Hey, Boston Christian. Hey, Miss Marple. Okay, so law enforcement has turned their case in. They're done with it, right? If something new and spectacular comes up, great. What's going on now is just because there's nothing going on in the case. This is why everybody's going apeshit. This is all anybody's talking about, is these leaks. And where did they come from? And there's a lot of things that need to be considered here when you're talking about his attorneys. We all have the Sixth Amendment. It's our right to decide who we want to represent us. Even if it's a public defender, if you can't afford an attorney, they'll give you one. They'll give you a public defender. And if you like that person, you should be able to keep them. But there's cases like this one where the judge can say, no, that's not going to happen. Now, they're running this up the flagpole. They're going all the way to the Supreme Court with it, and that's fine. But you have to keep this in mind. What's going to happen if all of this shit, right? All of this bullshit goes on, and these two attorneys come back on the case. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care if they're on the case or not, to be totally honest with you. But these two attorneys get back on the case, right? And they get rid of the judge, and they even get a new prosecutor, and he still loses. Rick Allen's going to say, yeah, well, these two are assholes. You should have got rid of them way back when. He's going to appeal on that. He's already got grounds for an appeal with what's going on now. So it really doesn't matter. I would like to see the trial get underway as quick as possible. I'm being a little bit selfish about that, but if it's new attorneys, it's new attorneys. I don't think they're cronies. I don't think anybody's that bold to bring in cronies, like I've been hearing. There's a lot of people that are just anti-system, anti-law enforcement right out the chute, and that's okay. Hello, Randy. How are you, sir? Thank you for coming in. That's okay. I don't mind that. I dealt with anti-law enforcement people my whole career, every single day, every single hour. I dealt with people that were anti-law enforcement. That's okay. But the majority of them, in my eyes, were assholes. So, I'm a little biased towards anti-law enforcement people. The ones I dealt with put a little bad taste in my mouth. I apologize. All right, so let's get to this paperwork now, because a lot of things happened today. The one thing that I wanted to see did not happen. The transcripts for the in-chambers meeting, hearing, whatever you want to call it, on the 13th. The 19th, I apologize, 19th of October, when the attorneys stepped down. Now, the attorneys have been saying, now they just showed up like nothing happened. I don't know if you guys ever seen that Seinfeld where George Costanza quit. And then Kramer says, well, just go back to work like nothing happened on Monday. So that's what he did. He just played like nothing happened. It was hilarious. And that's what these two guys did. I was hoping they did that, to be honest with you. It's beautiful. But the transcript that was in what happened in the chambers did not come out. The only transcripts that came out is what happened out in open court. And we already know what happened there. It was televised. Now, we do have the transcript from the 31st. So we can go over that. But what this is basically saying, this is just the filing that we've all been expecting from these attorneys. Now, these are not Richard Allen's attorneys. These are, from what I've seen, they're all appellate attorneys. So they're basically standing up for Richard Allen and for his attorneys, because they cannot put anything in on the case anymore, which is a good thing. It's a good thing that the checks and balances, I don't mind that. Some of this stuff I was reading over it, and, I'll admit it, I'm just shaking my head. And I think I said bullshit to myself out loud today about 40 times. It's crazy, some of the stuff. But they're basically just trashing the judge, trashing the prosecution, trashing law enforcement, trashing anybody involved with this case, except for Rozzi and Baldwin. But what everybody's saying that his attorneys didn't quit. That's bullshit. That's a lie. Yada yada yada. See, I'm automatically, if the court says that they quit, if the judge says that they said they quit, I'm gonna believe her until there's a recording that shows otherwise, or something, or she admits that she lied. I'm gonna believe her. I just trust in the system. I watched the system work for a long time, many years. I seen one case where a guy was suspected, arrested, and charged on something he didn't do, and it was also a murder of a young girl, and that was horrible. That really moved me. It did. It really moved me. I got to see the look on that guy's face, and everybody was giving him shit and stuff like that. But he was petrified, and it moved me. But that's the only one out of my whole career. It's the only one time that I've seen that happen, and I'm glad, because it sucks. That's why we have constitutional rights, so that shit doesn't happen. But again, he got arrested because he put himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Doesn't mean he did it. But still, that's why I say I would never find myself in Richard Allen's spot, because I would never put myself on a crime scene like that. He put himself there, guys. Remember that. None of these Odinists contacted law enforcement and told them that they were at the trails that day, and they were dressed in the same clothing as Bridge Guy. Now, I've heard people say that, no, he never said that. That's bullshit. He did say that. The whole tip thing pisses me off. It's always pissed me off. Go back to my first video. It drives me fucking nuts. The 2019 presser, when they were saying we're looking for the guy who was driving the vehicle parked at the old CPS building, where the fuck was the cop that took the tip from him, that took the report from him? Why didn't he step up and say, hey, I talked to that guy? Where the fuck was he? I believe it was Skinner that took the report, but some people don't believe that. Guess we'll find out one way or another. I don't think it really matters. But whenever he did it, he put himself at the crime scene. And I've said this many a times before. Murder 101, first day of class. You want to clear anybody that was there and that said they were there. You want to clear them first. Then you go out to the family. And so on and so forth. Okay, so this is just their paperwork. They're talking about everything that happened on how they got, kicked off the case and all that. And my opinion, they should have been kicked off the case. Look, listen, they're either devious or they're stupid, and neither one of those is good in this case. Neither one of those passes the sniff test to me. If you're stupid enough to send an email to a convicted felon who is also an Odinist, who has a court case against the county, he sued him and won, and then these pictures get leaked, that can't happen. And I think they've been doing a stellar job. I would hire them in a heartbeat. They've been doing a stellar job. And at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, all this stuff that they've done is going to be beneficial to Richard Allen at the end of the day, because now he's got grounds for appeal either way, either fucking way. He's got grounds for appeal. So, hey, criminality, thanks for stopping in. I heard you went over this stuff already, and it was a long day. I know this. It's crazy when something big like this comes out. Hey, Jari. But they've got grounds either way for an appeal. Okay. But they also, now you got to consider this. While I'm scrolling through this, I'm kind of doing it slow so you guys can read up on it. When I get to something that I think is a high point, I'm going to stop and we'll talk about it for a second. But not only did Richard Allen put himself at the crime scene at the time of the crime, saying that he was wearing the clothes that Bridge Guy was wearing. That's no good. Then they search his home and they find a pistol that matches the ejection marks from a bullet that they found at the crime scene, an unspent round. So it had been cycled through that weapon, but it was not fired. So the only markings it's going to have on it is serrations from the magazine, which has metal parts at the top of it, whatever the inside mechanism is, and the ejection and the injection pin. I'm just reading this here for a second. Okay, but that's not the only thing. People have been hung up on that. Okay, so if I told you, hey, they found this bullet on the crime scene. Joan, yes, I've heard it's DD, but I also heard from a pretty reliable source that it was Skinner. Skinner was with him. Skinner actually knew Allen, and Skinner was helping, because they were canvassing. That's why, that happens all the time. But if you read the paperwork, it says that DD brought in a tip from the Orion system. So it appears it was loaded in the system, and he just brought it in. They missed it. But if you guys remember all the way back, they tried to say that the FBI, that a civilian in the FBI office misfiled it. And the FBI immediately said, that's bullshit. So that whole thing pisses me off. There's a few things that piss me off with this case. And, so I'm not just totally law enforcement is the bomb. They make mistakes as well. And that was one. Thank God, if it is him, thank God he didn't kill anybody else, right? During that time. Or did he? Who knows? But if it's not him, there's a killer out there right now, isn't there? This whole case is, it just gets me cranked up. It does. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't get too emotionally dragged through the weeds on this stuff, because to me, the case is over. Law enforcement's already turned it over. They're already done with Richard Allen. And I believe him. Some people don't. That's okay. I'm not mad at you. Don't believe him. None of this affects me. Whether he's found innocent or guilty has no effect on me whatsoever. I don't have a dog in this fight. I want to see justice. I think it's all a bunch of bullshit what happened. But law enforcement is done with this case. All right. Now, this is where, when the judge told him that, I cannot and will not allow these attorneys to represent you, talking to Richard Allen, I won't allow that. That's huge for a judge to say that. That's not just nothing. That is huge. And for you guys, if you have questions, please put Q or something in the front, and I'll try and keep up with it. But I'm gonna have chat replay on too. I always do, so I'll be able to catch it, or you can put it in the comments. This is why I wanted help tonight, so I could keep an eye on the chat as well. But for the judge to tell him that no, they're not representing you. It's not happening. So forget about it. That's huge. That shouldn't happen in the United States. But so that's something that I've never seen it before. I've seen attorneys get in trouble, but this is kind of big. This is a big case. But now everybody's focusing on this, aren't they? And this is where, and just my opinion, everybody knows that I'm pretty sure that Richard Allen didn't do this by himself. I've got some pretty good intuitions on that. I'm very confident that he didn't do it himself. So while everybody's looking at this, it's giving law enforcement time to keep working on their case. Because like I said, they're done with Richard Allen. They don't care about him. They've already turned in all their evidence. They're confident they have everything they need to prosecute him. And once we all see all the evidence, then we'll all know, won't we? Let me grab this question I seen real quick. Hugh, how you doing? Huge reaction. That's cool. We'll play on words. I think they've been on to RA since the 2019 presser, and I think they had to get him in custody prematurely because the bullet was going to go public. Yeah, it may have been. Their timing. What's up, Four Pits? How you doing, brother? Glenn, how are you? Working and lurking. That's fine. Appreciate you coming in. Criminality. I agree with that. His hives them time to work on someone else. Yes, this gives them time. Yeah. You type as bad as I do, I guess. We do have a lot in common. Criminality. We do have a lot in common. But this is, for law enforcement, to me, they're playing this brilliantly. They are not going to try this case in the public. It's not going to happen. It'll never happen. The defense wants to. They have a lot to gain by doing all of this stuff. The prosecution does not. they can just sit back and laugh at this because they don't have to answer to any of this shit. Right now, the judge has got to answer to things. And I think it's interesting that the judge is having a hard time finding somebody that's going to represent her for whatever reason. I don't know why, but for whatever reason. But it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't care who represents him. My people, law enforcement, is already done with their case. They've turned it over. There's a big difference between law enforcement and the prosecutor. Law enforcement's already done their job. Now it's the prosecutor's job. Law enforcement is still investigating the case. That tells you something. Richard Allen was charged with murder with the aggravating factor of 2, which meant killed another human being while committing the felony of kidnapping. There's a reason they charged him with that. They just made it harder on themselves, not easier. Some people think they made it easier on themselves, that they just have to prove that he kidnapped the girls. That's not true. They're saying he killed the girls because he kidnapped them. So that's why I called my whole series on this an abduction gone wrong. And we all know that if everything went the way law enforcement, play along with me here, okay? Even if you're anti-law enforcement. If everything goes the way law enforcement said it did, he parked at the CPS building, walked down there, made contact with the girls. I almost said 10-5. It's fucking law enforcement in me. Made contact with the girls, got them down the hill, murdered them, went up to 300 and walked back to his car. Well, we all know that either he was planning that all along, that it could have been, very well could have been, I don't believe so, but it could have been a crime of opportunity. I can't say 100% it wasn't, but it appears that it was planned. But there's no way he was going to kidnap those girls and walk them all the way back to the CPS building. So why would the prosecutor charge him with that? Law enforcement didn't charge him with that. Prosecutor did. Law enforcement charged him with murder. So why would he charge him with that? We know he wasn't going to try and walk them girls back to the CPS building. Why? Because there's somebody else involved. Why are they keeping so much close to the vest? Let me ask you guys this. If this is their guy, cut and dry, he did it. They've got everything they need. They know that it's him and him alone. Why are they putting a gag order on this case? Why are they going through all this shit? Why is the defense spending so much time trying to prove it was somebody else? Question, Ruckus. What was your impression of the arrest conference? I thought very strange. Tension, arrest made while DC and TL out of town, no FBI taking bows, head of Indian office forced out of Nassar case. Yeah, it was odd at best. I mean, Doug Carter was in Europe, right? So they had to wait for him to get back, I guess. Let's see what Kemosabe says. The unspent cartridge is forensic evidence that puts him at the scene with the victims. Why didn't they charge him with murder instead of kidnapping with no forensic evidence to prove it? Well, I was just getting to that. Kemosabe, thank you very much. Great minds think alike, I guess. They charged him with kidnapping for a reason. We haven't seen or heard all of the evidence. What makes him so sure that it was kidnapping, right? Why throw that on there? Because they know it was kidnapping. They know it was an abduction gone bad. All right. Now, this is the conclusion to what they put in today, right? To ensure that going forward, Richard Allen receives his fundamental right to counsel, a writ of mandamus is appropriate to reinstate attorneys Baldwin and Rozzi as court-appointed counsel to set a trial date within 70 days from the issuance of the writ and remove the special judge and appoint a new one. I won't be mad at all if all that happens. All that happens. That's fine with me. 70 days? There's not one person in here that doesn't want to see this trial start in 70 days. We all want it to start in 70 days. All right, so that was the first one. Let me see. The motion for transcript. This was just them saying they want all the transcripts held in the chambers. That's what they're really concerned with, but they want all of it. So this is what This is what the state gave him. And this is kind of an asshole move. They're like, all right, you want transcripts? Here, you assholes. We'll give you every goddamn thing, and you can read through it. How you like that? So that's what they did. And that's what this is. Let me get back over here. Meet the corner of State Road 18 and Center Street in Florida. Oh, yeah, in Florida. Yeah, there's a walk for the girls coming up. Yes. Let me put that up there. Floor 4 Angels Memorial Walk, November 19th, 1 p.m. And meet at the corner of State Road 18 and Center Street in Florida. Randy's running that, I think. He's participating in it. Maybe Deb's running it. I know Jinx is very involved with it. You guys are all awesome. That floor case pisses me off too, but I'm staying away from that one too. Just like Delphi, I'm done with the Delphi case pretty much. I'm pro LE. They've done their job. They're already done. They turned it over. They think he's guilty. I'm interested in who else they arrest now. That's what I'm working on. But it's just getting too messy. The Delphi case is getting too messy on YouTube. Too personal. Too much shit going on. And the same thing with Flora. So I try to get people involved with these cases that can help. If people don't want their help, I don't know what to tell you. Question: what could local LE say to Delphi residents to reassure them that not another killer roaming free? How would you reassure them given the strong hints others are involved? Exactly, Jeremy. Now remember, right when this happened, right when it first happened, Tobe told everybody, there's no risk. There's no risk of anybody else getting hurt or anything like that. So what did they know? What did they know? And we're going to find all of this out, okay? This is all speculation until we see hard evidence in court and we see people getting pissed off and we see people being sad. So until it comes to that time, and for those of you that have followed me for a while, you've heard me say this a million times as well. Unfortunately, folks, the facts do not matter anymore. They don't. Throw the facts out the fucking window. This is all about attorneys now. This is about smoke and mirrors, sleight of hand, deflection, redirection, you name it, how they present the case. Just think of OJ and Casey Anthony, for Christ's sake. And it's the facts don't matter. So they even sent them, they started with all the way back to all the stuff that was filed on my case. It's like, hey, you want to be assholes? Here you go. Got everything. Scroll through all this, and it's all redundant. We've all seen all of this stuff before. Hey, Gail, how are you? Daisy, what's going on? But all this stuff we've seen it all before. So I'm just gonna scroll through this. I'm sure you guys don't need to see all this again. But here's a good point about the facts not mattering. Now again, play along with me here. Pacify me. If what the defense just put out is all bullshit about this Odinist shit and about correctional officers and about people treating him like a POW and all that, if it turns out that all of that is bullshit and it's a lie, which I believe it is, they're still doing their job, right? That's their job. Smoke and mirrors, deflection, lie, cheat, steal, do anything you can to represent your client in his best interests, period. So we don't have to like them. We don't have to like them. And here's I started watching Bob Mata. Somebody mentioned him in chat one time, so I went and watched him, Defense Diaries. And he's very good. He's very good. I like that guy. But that's a classic one right there. His dad represented Gacy. Gacy was guilty as fuck. And his dad knew that. And he still represented him. So does that mean that he has a bad moral compass? No. No, that's part of our system. Mark Collins, how are you, sir? I believe that one possible thing is some LE believe there was one killer while others believe there was two or more. Good job, Ruckus. Thank you. Welcome aboard, too. Anna, good to see you. If RA is guilty, the community was certainly at risk all those years. Whatever spurred such a crime in a non-criminal life could have erupted at any time, theoretically. Yeah, I've I've seen cases where people don't even have a speeding ticket, and they go cut somebody up in little pieces and scatter. People can snap. Everybody in here, I tell you what, I put anybody in here, put you behind the wheel during rush hour traffic, and you're capable of snapping on anybody. It can happen at any time. We're all human. Hey, Purdue, how are you? How's my man Winston? She's got the bestest dog. And I have two dogs too. Um, Criminality. I think the bigger concern for me, at least, is if it's true. Yeah, if it's true. Yeah, exactly. I don't believe it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, does it? Who the fuck am I? Right? But if it did happen, holy smokes, that's all I can say. That's crazy, you know? So we've got all this little stuff that's been put into the system, and this is what they gave them. The one thing that they asked for, the one thing that they really wanted, and they wanted to be made public, was the transcripts, or even better yet, the audio recording from the chambers on the 19th. And that's what we all wanted. That's what I was told was on Gall's desk that she approved. So maybe she has, and it just hasn't been cleared yet. Yeah, Jari. I get road rage in Walmart. Hell yeah. I've told people more than once, hey, why don't you just lay down across the fucking aisle? Instead of just going down the middle, just lay on the floor across the whole aisle so nobody can get by if that's your goal. Yeah, I don't do well. I don't know if you guys heard that story that Steve told about me at the bar. Criminality. I wish the task force was able to speak on it and what the final of their investigation was. They never will. Criminality, especially the task force. And you wouldn't believe what a task force. They do more arguing than anything else. It's a pissing match. It's good to have experts at your disposal, but that should be it. The FBI should let anybody, any town, any county, anywhere in the United States, should let anybody use their experts without them having to poke their nose in the shit. But they want to get involved. They want to close the case. Yada, 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 yada. Now, do we all remember this? The bloodlust. The public interest. All that. So we get... And the defense is absolutely right. How shady does that look? First, the prosecutor steps down. Then the judge puts this guy in a state prison and then recuses himself from the case. I'll admit it. Yeah, that's shady. That's shady. Now, look at this. Here's another thing. Now, Richard Allen had help with this letter. There is no doubt in my mind he had help with this letter. But he had help from, another inmate or a correctional officer or somebody helped him write this letter to phrase it correctly, so it's good for the court to have. All these other things that his defense attorneys had him sign, saying he wrote it. Give me a break. Give me a break. None of us would write it like that, unless you're an attorney. I just would have wrote WTF and turned that into the judge. All right, so this is him describing the press release. This is them describing, what happened to Richard Allen, right? And we all remember this. And just real quick, while I have this on the tip of my tongue as well, I've been asked this question a few times in the past couple days. And when I say a few, I mean like one. Chris Todd. He described the crime scene photos 10 months ago, right? How did that happen? And that proves that the defense did not have anything to do with this leak. Not true. That's not true. There were other photos that got disseminated. I won't say leaked because they weren't turned in. They were phones from personal photos from personal phones. people that were on the search team that were there on scene. People took pictures of that. And you've seen some of them, the items of clothing in the water and stuff like that. That's not law enforcement that took those pictures. So somebody took a picture of the girls on the 14th and shared them with some people. And it just so happens Chris Todd was one of them. Has nothing to do with the crime scene photos that were recently leaked. Whole different set of circumstances. But because people are just now seeing this Richard Todd stuff and they're bringing that in, they're kind of screwing the timeline up. They're saying, well, these have been out. It couldn't have been from the attorney's office. They got out somewhere else. Well, now the attorneys are saying, yeah, that did happen. It's just like Rozzi said, yeah, I did step down. They say it right in this paperwork. All right, let me go to the volume 2. This one has the transcript. Now, the one on the 19th, we don't care about. Page 20. We don't care about the one on the 19th because that was in open court. We all heard that. So let's go to page 20. Yeah, Teresa, criminality. Yes. These are not the first crime scene photos that got out. I'm not sure whose show it was on, criminality, but the guy's name is Chris Todd. He wrote a book about this case. And he plugs his book. Cop Facts plugs his book. I'm not mad at either one of them. You wrote a book, you should plug it. But he plugs his book. I don't agree with many things that he says, but that doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? But he claimed 10 months ago that he saw crime scene photos. Nobody believed him. He wouldn't give up his source, yada, yada, yada. But he described the crime scene photos perfectly, the crime scene. So he did see photos from somewhere. And as it turns out, he did absolutely see photos. They were from somebody that was there that took pictures. Okay, record of hearing on October 31st. Now they're discussing the CR4. If you guys don't know what that is, he's been in prison or been in custody. And yes, he has been in prison, but it wouldn't matter if he was in a jail or prison. But they're talking about this CR4. That means he's been in for a year. And you have to get released on your own recognizance if you're there for a year and nothing's been happening to the case. So that's just a stroke of a pen. They'll fix that. But this was what happened in the courtroom. I'll go back up if you guys want to read this. But this is basically these two attorneys showing back up like nothing ever happened. So I think that's beautiful. Bravo, gentlemen. Bravo. That was some George Costanza shit right there. But they, I guess they had to. They had to. And I have a question for you guys. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. If they didn't step down, if they didn't resign from the case, why didn't they go back out in open court with everybody else? The judge, the prosecutor, all the witnesses, everybody was out there. They went out the back door. And I don't mean that literally. They left the courtroom. I'm not saying they snuck out or anything, but they left. From what I understand, Rozzi went out and spoke to Richard Allen's wife and stuff like that. But, why didn't they sit down? Why didn't they say, yeah, that is what's happening? I just don't get the whole thing. It took them a day or two to say, well, shit, we can use this and try and get back in there. I hope they do, because if they do put them back in, then we're going to have a trial in 70 days. Now, okay, he's way better off in prison. Way better off. And for people to say that why wasn't Keegan Kline held in a prison instead of a jail? People don't like, pedophiles and all that. So why wasn't he kept And it's a totally different story. We're talking about murder here. We're talking about Keegan Kline, a little troll that sits in his dad's basement and looks at um, child porn. So it's a whole different story. He didn't kill anybody. I don't even think he even met anybody. Just a gross pervert. Big difference. Let me tell you something. There's hundreds and thousands of those people walking the compounds in all of our states, and they're not getting killed. So, I mean, I don't know if people watch too many movies or whatever, but I worked death row. I worked on a compound. I worked in a jail. I worked in booking. I've done it all when it comes to correction. And Sleuth, what's up, brother? I understand they did let go, but I see the benefit of keeping them on. But if they fucked up again, that is 100% on go. Yeah, absolutely. He's got grounds for appeal either way. If they come back on and he loses, then what? He's going to say, you guys all know they were fucking idiots. And you left him on the case. So it's your fault, you know? So, let me see here. All right, Mr. Baldwin, he was getting pissed off, and the judge just cut him off. Let me finish. I cannot allow that. You know, her voice changed. She's getting pissed off again. Now, what do you guys think? Honestly, and I know there's some anti-system people out there, and that's okay. I'm not mad at you. It's what makes the world go round. But what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to take the judge out? Do you think she was wrong for kicking them out? Because if she is, there's checks and balances. You know? What about BK wearing a suit, no braces, and RA shackled and wearing all jail clothes? And Koberger is a death penalty case. This is a death penalty case also, Laura. And I'm glad you said that because I wanted to address this a bunch of times, but I keep forgetting. Richard Allen can be in a suit. He has that right. The state is not going to give him a suit. His attorneys have to provide one, or his family has to provide one. Now, I can guarantee you that Koberger is wearing a Zap vest. He's not just walking around free willy, commando style. No, he'll get jacked up too. Let him stand up and do something wrong. You watch how quick he pees his pants and falls down on the ground. But Richard Allen, his attorneys are doing this on purpose. He can wear a suit to court every time he goes to court. He can wear a suit. They're not providing him one. Why? Optics. They want him to look bad. I guarantee you they told him, listen, 3 days before you're supposed to go to any hearings or trial, do not shave, don't wash, don't brush your teeth, don't change your clothes, look as shitty as you can. But now he is in a yellow jumpsuit. He's not in a red one anymore. So he's under different circumstances now. He's no longer under suicide watch. You guys need to remember, this guy was an alcoholic. And people coming down off of alcohol is every bit as bad as people coming down off of heroin. The withdrawals are horrible. They lose weight. They look like shit. Just like what happened to Richard Allen. And now he's looking better. He's getting better. He's settling in. And he's over those alcohol withdrawals. And I guarantee he feels a lot better. A lot better. But yeah, Laura, I didn't mean to raise my voice and stuff. It's just something that I've been wanting to say for a while. And again, who the hell am I? Nobody gives a shit if I raise my voice or not. But he can wear a suit. Every time he goes to court, he can wear a suit, but the state's not going to provide him one. He will at court. You watch him at trial. Right now, they're playing the game. I've seen it a million times, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Do what you can. All right, now, there was something else, too, that I wanted you guys to give your opinion on. And that is this affidavit. What do you guys think of this? Okay, this is Mitch Westerman claiming that, he went into Baldwin's office for a meeting. Baldwin was busy, so he wandered into the conference room, which is probably where they were going to talk anyways, to wait. And he observed printed copies of photo evidence on the conference room table, and he took pictures of a few of them. Andrew Baldwin did not give me permission to take these photos of the printed copies. He was not present, and he did not have any knowledge that I took pictures of the evidence photos. I am freely and voluntarily typing and signing this affidavit in my own accord because it is the truth. I'm here to tell you that is not the truth. Those photos are not pictures of a picture. I'm here to tell you they are not. Yeah, I think Baldwin's thrown him under the bus, Sleuth. I think that ship sailed already. They can take the judge out for doing wrong, then they can take out lawyers for leaking their stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They just need to get control of this. They need to get control of it again. They've lost control of their own case. And it's a sad state of affairs. But I don't believe one word of this. I don't believe one word of this. I know for a fact that there's more than a few pictures. More than a few. And some of them have cursors on them. You know, mouse cursors. So get off it. Get off this bullshit. You're lying, Mitch. Just take it. Eat it. Take one for the team, my brother. You know, your ass is grass. And Baldwin's the lawnmower. You think he's going to let you stand between him and getting what he wants? You are crazy. At the conclusion today, this Lehman and Winky filing ensure that going forward, Richard Allen receives his fundamental right to counsel. A writ of mandamus is appropriate to reinstate attorneys Baldwin and Rozzi as court-appointed counsel to set a trial date within 70 days from the issuance of the writ and remove the special judge and appoint a new one. Now, what? Yeah, it's okay. Hey, Teresa, disagreement is the way what keeps the world going. Mayo, what's going on, brother? Mayo will tell you that. GP, how are you? But do you guys have any comments or questions that you want to make on this? I just want to make it absolutely clear that this case is done as far as law enforcement is concerned. They've already turned the case over. You can stop talking about them. They're not involved with this anymore. They're not involved with this. That bullet evidence that is not junk science, right? It's definitely not. There's precedence in that state. And I've already shown that. I've shared that with everybody. This guy went to prison for life on an ejected round. They didn't even find the weapon, but they found another ejected round at his house that matched. He went to prison for life, put in for an appeal, got his appeal, had another trial, and got sent back to prison for life on the same exact evidence. So it's not junk science, but they can parade experts up there all day long. You know? Yeah, Rose, they don't have the capability of taking care of these people, I guess, in the counties. But I agree with you. Mayo, thank you, sir. Got a super chat from Mayo. I appreciate it. $10. You're a good man. I appreciate that. Criminality, I will send it to you. I'll send it to you. It's in the case of Indiana. It's a case from Indiana as well. I've put it up several times on several of my lives. But you know, I don't expect you to go back and watch all my lives. I'll send it to you. I have it on the computer. So if you, I can get your email from your page. I'll email it to you. But it's interesting. And it was the same exact expert. And the defense rolled their experts in until the judge says that's enough. But they just weren't as good as the prosecution's expert. Same exact guy testified years later on that evidence. But here we go. And let me ask you guys this, okay? So you think that that's junk science, right? Okay, listen, well, we've got this unspent round that has ejector markings that match his gun. And if you put a whole pile of rounds here, we'll be able to pull out the 2 or 3 that came out of that gun. Now, that's bullshit. Okay, well, how about this then? The lot number, the manufacturing, the powder grains, all that match a box of bullets that he has at his house, or 2 or 3 bullets, or whatever. He has the same exact lot number, the same bullets that match that round at his house. Does that make you feel any better? Super sticker, $10. Thank you very much. 63 clocks. Bomb.com. But would that make you feel better? Because we don't know if they have that yet. Kristen, how are you, my friend? So good to see you. But if they have the ejection marks and they can match him that to a box of rounds that he had, or a round in his nightstand, maybe that one he had in the treasure box on his nightstand, would that make you feel better then? Because that may be what's happened. Hey, Mother of Dragons. That may be exactly what's happened. We don't know. You know why? Because the prosecution is not going to leak their evidence. They're not going to do it because there's somebody else involved. They can't. That's the one thing that pisses me off about these crime scene photos getting out, is that affects their chances of arresting somebody. If somebody, they got their eye on somebody because they know information about the crime scene that they shouldn't unless they were there. Hi, Kyra. Well, guess what? Now they can say, well, I saw those crime scene photos. That's why. That's the only thing. All this is going to come out at trial. All this, the photos and all that, it is actual trial evidence. So yeah, that's a no-no, leaking that. But it's all going to come out at trial. It's going to come out eventually. So, it shouldn't really matter. It should not stray a jury. But it's also, I don't like, can anyone name another defendant that is housed in correctional facility prison pending trial who's not been convicted of a crime and has no criminal record? Can you please name one? I don't think anybody can, Kay, off the top of their head. If you want me to research it for you, I will. But it won't change anything, Kay. Our opinion of why he's there does not matter. Guess what? He's there. And he's staying there. There's no way around that. If you think he's innocent, I'm okay with that. He hasn't been found guilty yet. But I've said this a million times, too. It doesn't matter where they keep him. Kay, you think he's being treated bad? Go sign him out, babe. Take him home, give him a milk bath, rub his fucking feet, put a mint on his pillow. I don't give a shit. Just get him to trial on time. Okay, babe? That's all I'm worried about. I don't give a fuck where he's housed. If he can go into a county jail, guess what? It's going to be a 6x8 cement block walls with a stainless steel toilet and sink, period. End of story. He's going to have the same asshole inmates yelling at him. He's going to have the same asshole correctional officers taking care of him. But I tell you what, he's getting the best medical care he can get, and psychological care. He's getting treated a lot better than this country's veterans are right now. That's for sure. But he is innocent until proven guilty. I have my opinion, just like everybody else does, and we can disagree. Okay, that's fine. But he's where he's at. There's nothing you or I can do to change that. They're not going to move him. He needs to stay there. Yeah, cinder blocks are cinder blocks. But, all right, that's all I got for you guys. I usually don't go this long. I appreciate everybody listening to me rant and rave, going over this paperwork. There's a lot to swallow today, but if you go to Criminality's page, she went over like every piece of this. So if you really want to go deep dive into it, she's always very thorough. She's awesome. ATS, you're welcome anytime, dear. Shane, what's up, brother? Yeah, it's just like taking the attorneys out. You can't win. You can't win for losing. If you move him and he gets hurt, guess what? If you don't move him and he gets hurt, guess what? Everybody's just trying to do their best to get that little weasel to court. But that's all I got for tonight, guys. I saved you. Let's see, make sure I get all these. Nope, I missed one. Gail Hurd. I'm sorry, Gail, I missed it. I went right by it. $20 super sticker. You are amazing. You're amazing too, Gail. I appreciate it. But I saved you guys from having to look at my ugly face tonight, because I am ugly as a mud fence. You take my face, stick it in some dough, and make orangutan ass cookies. That's how ugly I am. So I saved you that. You just got to hear my soothing voice and my Boston accent. But you guys have a great night, and do me one huge favor. Do not ever take any wooden nickels, please. My name is Ruckus. Thanks for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm 10-7.